Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us wherever you are joining us from. Today is November 25th, 2025. This is Divided America. I wanted to start with underreporting, access journalism, and democratic loyalty to corporations, but the recent attacks on Senator Mark Kelly warrant a reaction. It doesn't matter if these members of Congress know of any illegal orders from the president. They were speaking in generalities. And considering the amount of illegalities coming from this administration, one more wouldn't be a surprise. We don't know what's coming out of the Pentagon. This administration has barred all reporters from being inside of that building. It's part of that access journalism. If you can't get access, you don't know what's going on. Now, I don't know if everybody has seen what has been said, but Pete Hegseth, formerly of Fox News, who is now the Secretary of War, formerly the Secretary of State, what a stupid change. He is opened a investigation on Senator Mark Kelly. Now, for those of you that don't know, Senator Mark Kelly was an astronaut. His wife, former Representative Gabby Giffords, was part of political violence. She was shot in the face. And you'd think that these people would understand that the actions that they do lead to reactions from their followers. So I can only think about the safety of Senator Kelly and his wife right now. I saw Senator Gallego's response this morning on, it's everywhere. It's from TikTok, on Twitter. He basically said, and if you have any kids, any kids listening or watching, just give them, the earmuffs. Senator Gallego's words, and I kind of loved hearing this from a U.S. senator. He said "fuck you" to the Secretary of War, because talk about hoaxes and witch hunts. To investigate someone so decorated like Senator Kelly, just because they're worried that what they're doing in the Department of Defense is legal or not legal. I can tell you personally, the UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, is very tricky, and you have to listen to the Commander-in-Chief. But if he tells you to shoot unarmed civilians, or if he tells you to do anything illegal in the United States, then the same rules apply. The president is not going to be there forever. I mean, he could technically go a third term, I guess, if things go really sourly. But even then, he'll be, 80-something? Things follow. The Nuremberg trials came way after the war. Now, this transitions us to political violence into the Charlie Kirk assassination and the underreporting of it. What do we know about Charlie Kirk killing? Here's something that I never thought I'd say in private, let alone on camera. I feel like I've learned more from Candace Owens. Yeah, that Candace Owens. And I don't watch her show regularly. I just, every once in a while, get a couple TikToks sent to me. And the algorithm is really strong. Maybe it's the conspiracy theorist in me, but I've been watching tons of videos of Charlie's death, his unfortunate death. Like him or hate him, no one deserves to die for opinions, right? Right? If you have an opinion, it's like an asshole. We all got them, right? We all know that saying. The point is, no one's supposed to die for it. But his assassination is a lot like the JFK one, and I am not equalizing the two people in general. Right? One's president. One was an influencer, podcaster, speaker. I honestly don't know his position. I guess he owned, was it Truth USA or something? Please, in the comments, fix Turning Point. It was Turning Point USA. Um, but again, I'm not equalizing the two. It's just that they both got shot. But what we were told is one shooter, high caliber ammunition. This one was a 30-06. Now, I've shot my share of rifles. I was a hunter before the military. I shot rifles in the military. And I don't know if you've ever heard a shot or like a rifle shot. I'm not talking about a 9mm. I'm not talking about a 22. I'm talking about a hunting weapon. It's loud. It's fucking loud. Okay, 30-06 is a loud weapon. It was unsuppressed. This weapon that Tyler Robinson had, right? Like that's what we were told, that Tyler Robinson's the soul, just like Lee Harvey Oswald, the soul killer. Hell of a shot. Hell of a shot for one shot. Now, I can't tell you scientifically that a 30-06 would wreck a body from that distance. I'm not a physical scientist. I'm a political one. Or at least that's what my undergrad degree says. But ex-Navy SEALs are saying so. And experts in the field, professionals, they're out there trying to raise this awareness to not only that, if he was assassinated by not Tyler Robinson, then that opens a whole litany of other questions that Candace has been handling. And it's really becoming a grassy knoll situation. There's so many interesting angles of the video, and I suggest you watch the video. Don't watch his reaction. I mean, don't watch his death, but watch the reaction or non-reaction of certain individuals that immediately after the gunshot happens. Now, I can tell you, some of these people are very cool under fire, more cooler than some of the people I served with, me included. If someone shot a 30-06 somewhere around 125 yards from me, I would hear it immediately hit the ground and be pretty freaking scared because it's a loud bang. That being said, Candace is kind of showing on her show. Now I can't verify the information. She's got Israeli ties. She's got Egyptian ties. She's talking with France. Like that's too big of a conspiracy. Like I don't know. I really don't know. But what I can say is, again, just watching the video, is you just watch the reaction of the bystanders, and if they look and they point one way, but the shooting came from another way, it's I understand that there's reverberations and no one there. Well, I can't say no one there was a ballistics expert, but I think Charlie had some security on his team that were ballistic experts or had some sort of serious security training, that they would understand where that weapon came from, or at least the shot came from. Now, why do I say this is like the JFK assassination? Because people are hearing different things, different caliber weapon, and the gymnastics that Robinson accomplished while leaving the scene with the weapon unseen on video. Now, I don't know if you've seen the videos of him jumping off of a roof to get away. There's tons of video out there. What you don't see is him ever running with a weapon. But then apparently this weapon was found fully intact. It's way, way, way too similar to the JFK assassination. That being said, when we come back after this quick little break, some of that underreporting that I mentioned in the first part of this segment, it's about Rhode Island, and it's going to be a very local segment, so please stick around. It's about the Rhode Islanders, their love of corporations and gambling. It's a good story. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The news never stops. There are stories that we are working on daily. I have a manager of a condominium company. This is all local here in Rhode Island. I have a manager of a condominium company seemingly targeting minorities at their place of residence, and while they're trying to celebrate religious holidays. I am furiously reporting that behind the scenes, and I'm not coming to camera or to print without the proper sources, the proper sourcing, and the proper just paperwork. I'm not going to do that story wrong, because that it seems that these people are being done wrong. That's just one story. I have another story of a police officer in Pawtucket that was escalating instead of de-escalating a situation that happened this past summer. I have audio of that, and waiting for responses. I have gotten a response from the security company, but I have not got a response from the Pawtucket police. I guess I've given them a decent amount of time, and I'm going to be going to the air with that pretty soon. One of the things I've learned, and I think I've told you this before, I'm in master school for journalism, and what they've taught me is follow your interests, right? Like that's what's going to bring out a good story. And what I'm interested in is interesting. And when something catches my attention, I like to share it with people. And we're going to call this segment Siska Shares. If I could play imaging, I would right now, but I don't have imaging for this. I do have imaging for the Computer Says No segment, but we do not have this, the Computer Says No segment on today's show. Definitely more to come with that. Now, raise your hands if you actually read the Providence Journal. I used to. I don't read it anymore. I used to read it daily. But Gatehouse bought it in, I think it was 2014, and ever since then, it's really kind of gone downhill. Now, I do want to say I'm not disparaging the great reporters that work there. They are trying their best to bring out the best information possible to us, but it's hard when these companies they gut them from the inside. In 2019, Gannett Media bought Gatehouse, and the website is almost non-functional for a while. Unreliable, almost unreadable, and again, I just don't mean to disparage the workers there. They are trying, but because the Providence Journal has been the distribution has definitely been lacking here in the state. The information seems to be not getting to people, and during this crazy summer, this small tiny bit of information probably passed with nowhere near enough recognition, and that's what we're going to talk about. Now, I've reached out to members for journalistic purposes. I've reached out to members of the General Assembly and to see what the status of the bill is. But when I was researching for this episode, we found two conflicting bills in the Rhode Island General Assembly, and the links will be provided below. Two conflicting bills when it comes to sports gambling. Now, the short story is one of the bills gives a monopoly to the Rhode Island Sportsbook and its owner, Bally's Twin River. It's a 20-year contract to eliminate sports betting competitions here in Rhode Island. So that means that Rhode Island gamblers, I understand not everybody's a gambler. People have opinions on gambling. I used to have opinions on gambling. It is what it is, right? Everybody's got vices. People smoke, people drink, people gamble. People have vices. They do what they need to do to get through the day, to the next day, and to the next. The point is, maybe there would be a good thing to have a successful application. Like the Twin River app sucks. Like, just to be blunt, I try to use it here in Rhode Island, but because of my proximity to Massachusetts, I refuse to put money into it, and I'd rather use the promotions and gain what I can monetarily from DraftKings in this is not sponsored, in Massachusetts, because Massachusetts gives you a choice. Massachusetts, you have a litany of sports books. I mentioned this in the first episode. They have DraftKings, FanDuel, Fanatics, Bet 365. I mean, there's so many different actual sports books that you can use in Massachusetts. Now, I say sports books because how do the states get taxed from the? I mean, I'm sorry. How do the books get taxed from the state, and then how do the daily fantasy sites get taxed from the state? So now, if you live in the state of Rhode Island, if or if you try to gamble on the DraftKings app or FanDuel, it would say you're geographically not allowed. Now, if you tried to use the Twin Rivers app, it works perfectly. But where is the money going? Because if you use Underdog in Rhode Island, if you use Prize Picks in Rhode Island, if you use DraftKings Pick 6 in Rhode Island, those are all gambling what's considered daily fantasy sites. And they can all be used and they can take our money from us in Rhode Island. But I don't see it going to the state. I can't find it. And I'd love to know if Rhode Island is only getting money from the Rhode Island Sportsbook and not these other daily fantasy sites, then it is illogical to have a monopoly, to only have one book be legally work in your state. New Hampshire has one book. They have DraftKings, and DraftKings pays, I believe, a 51% tax rate on that. But again, now New Hampshire, I haven't tried New Hampshire yet, but I should take a drive and see, or maybe someone can let me know, please, in the comments, that if you can use Underdog, Prize Picks, DraftKings Pick 6 in your state also, because then, if so, that's a way of getting around the rules, right? There's also Kalshi, which is one of the bigger ones now. You can bet on the damn election. The previous elections, you can bet on almost anything on Kalshi. It's scary, really scary. I started signing up for it, but then they started asking me a whole bunch of weird information, and then I found out who owns it, and I was like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. But point is that there's a weird distinction between the two, between sports books and daily sports sites, daily fantasy sites. So again, why is the bill only for one? It doesn't. I'm honestly asking this question. I've met with some of the people who have signed some of these bills, and I'd love to have you guys on the show. If you want to explain what's going on, I personally am trying to figure it out. I don't mean to disparage. If I have the wrong side of this, please let me know. If you want to talk to me either from live here or wherever you feel like talking to, but please, I set me straight if I'm wrong. Now, you can listen if you listen to this on Spotify. If you listen to this anywhere you can get your podcast. Please come to me and set the record straight, because if I'm wrong, then I like to be loud wrong, right? Because if I'm wrong, I'll be the first person to say that I'm wrong. It's something that I'd be very genuine about. Here, I can be kind of a dick, but at the same time, when I'm wrong, well, I beat myself up on it. So please let me know. The initial investment from what seems to be IGT, it doesn't seem like it's worth not having choices, especially if it drives constituents from our state to other states. Massachusetts already draws in way more revenue now, in marijuana sales than Rhode Island. Now, I understand they have way more people, but their laws are more lax, and in particular, the 0.5 to 1 gram vape distinction, which I can't tell you how many Rhode Islanders I meet in Massachusetts buying pot. And I think about the whole point of this segment was tax revenue and where that money is going. For our last segment, please stick around. We're just going to do a quick little part on sports, because I've mentioned it on social media that this initial endeavor started 15 years ago, Yeah, 15 years ago at a community college in Rhode Island. I moved from New York to Rhode Island to go to school using the GI Bill. And I really want to do sports journalism, but part of that sports journalism, you need access. Access journalism is next. Stick around. Welcome back for our last segment. I'd love to report from sports stadiums. I mentioned before the proximity to Foxborough. I am very close. But access journalism is what rules this country and towing that corporate line. I once got a reply from the Patriots. I used my Harvard email address, and they replied saying, and understandably so, saying that they couldn't give media credentials to a student journalist because then that would open the floodgates to every student journalist. And I told Stacy, I said, or whoever it was, I think it was Stacy James, but I said, thank you. I completely understand your reasoning behind that. And what they said in the email was, they said if I ever got hired by a legitimate organization to reapply. Well, I created my own legitimate organization. The Cisco News Network is fully incorporated. It's LLC. We are insured by Hartford. It's a USAA affiliate. So I'm just hoping to get an email back from someone in the New England Patriots, because I think I could be a great asset down there. I can bring light to certain subjects that maybe some other people don't see, being a combat veteran. I really hope to get a reply. Now, I used my Yahoo email. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know, but you would think that they would I would at least get some sort of a reply. But I won't be able to cover the team professionally unless I get actual access and be there. I would do everything correctly. I would sure hope I would be allowed to interview players, and that's really the goal. And truth be told, I really want to interview NBA star Nikola Jokic. That's more than anything. As the location to the Patriots just seems to me like one way in, but like Nikola Jokic would be the person to talk to. And why? It's because I mentioned this in a different episode, but I still speak Russian. Ja еще говорю по-русски. Now, it's not Serbian, which he speaks, but and I would apologize in Russian for speaking Russian to him, but I feel like I would be able to get on another level with him. He doesn't exactly have the best interviews here with American journalists, and I just feel like there's a language barrier, and they might not be able to talk to him in a way. Like, I would ask him about his horse. Like, that's the first thing I want to ask him about is Mr. Like Господин. I don't know if I would have to say Господин Jokic, but как твой лошадь? How is it? Is it good? Is it? You miss it? Do you get to see it? Может, if Nikola Jokic ever gets to see this, please, может видеть твою ложь. I screw up the grammar every once in a while, but do you get to see it during the season, the NBA season, or is that why you miss it so? I get it. Like, I get he loves his horse. just like we love our mascot here at the Siskin News Network, Chewbacca, who's in daycare today. He's being a very good boy. I really want to do more sports in the future. I'm going to try to get media access to the. I've been to the Rhode Island Football Club multiple times. I've reported there for class, and hopefully I can start interviewing players there. But again, the goal would be NBA star Nikola Jokic. That would be the dream, just because it would encapsulate 25 years of learning languages and journalism and political science and everything. So, if you hear me, yes, Liti, here, I forget here. I know Slishel, if you hear me. Ty Slishel меня, Pozvini, Pожалуйста. I'm George Says Good. This is Divide America. Have a great Thanksgiving. It's going to be a fun one at the table. Let's try to keep it civil. Have a great day, everyone.